inject into the cavity where there are, if this is the entire cavity and you have two sets of two cages, you have a proton ion gun. You inject into this cavity a plasma. It could be boron, it could be He3, a plasma of something. And meanwhile, while you're injecting the plasma, you're increasing the pressure, you're increasing the temperature, and once the protons start to fire, you get what is called a virtual cathode. It's not a real metallic cathode, it's virtual. And then you can do two things with that. You can either yield a great deal of energy. Oh, thank you. You can yield a great deal of energy, or you can create propulsion, or you can create neutrons for medical applications, mining applications. There's a whole number, there's a wealth of things that you can do with just this basic setup for an IEC. And for those of you who would like to see what one actually looks like, it's like a World War II mine. There's a little portal, you can look in and see what's going on. And there's the schematic. At the very bottom there, you'll see what I refer to as the well. This is where the density is required so that as these protons are firing into the highly heated, highly pressurized compartment, they are contained along virtual lines to create that virtual cathode effect that I had shown you previously. So, why IEC fusion? That's a pretty bold, dramatic statement I put in there, but I stand by it. We are in a very tough place, both in terms of politics and the environment. As the world changes and changes rapidly, this is a technology that can provide clean power. And in my own mind, I would like to say that for those of you who care about space, this technology is the next generation. It's not warp drive from Star Trek. However, it is also not Titan or Apollo or any of the standard Saturn technologies that we know about. This is a technology that can make two-way trips to Mars feasible. A month both ways. Now, in addition, for those of you, and this is something that I feel is extremely important, space, in terms of what we have around us right now, is taken for granted. We got Tang, we got Velcro, big deal. However, the lithium-ion batteries in this laptop, in my cell phone, in any number of applications, handheld tools without a cord, all this came out of the Apollo missions and other subsequent follow-on NASA projects. And here is the most important thing. I think if I leave you with nothing else, this is not a development that will take decades. We don't need to wait around 30 years to see if this thing will work. We don't have to wait until 2100 for clean energy. What Dr. Miley and his team has done is that they have developed all the necessary groundwork by which we can develop an IEC fusion reactor within 3 years, and within 6 years, commercialize that reactor and be able to manufacture it for a fraction of the cost of a large fusion tokamak device, and for a fraction of the same amount that the Polywell project proposes, for $200 million. We're proposing $30 million in 6 years instead of 10 years and 200 to 300 million. This is substantial in terms of, again, a clean, small, versatile energy source that could yield anywhere between 100 to 1,000 megawatts in its energy cycle. There is more information on this technology at avrc.com. I thank you for your attention. I don't know that I left any time for questions, but if there, actually I think I may have 2 minutes if there are any questions. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome Summit delegates to the second annual Energy Technology Summit. My name is Sheena Strout and I'm a senior at the University of Virginia's College at Wise and a Napoleon Hill Scholar. I have the pleasure of introducing our second guest and most distinguished presenter. Congressman Rick Boucher resides in Abingdon and has served the people of Southwestern Virginia in the United States Congress for over 26 years. He serves as the fourth ranking member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee and chairs the subcommittee on Communications, Technology, and the Internet. Congressman Boucher is also the third ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee. His membership on the House Energy and Commerce Committee provides for extensive input on federal legislation related to a broad range of energy-related issues. Such issues include electricity generation and markets, coal use, pipeline safety, refineries, and the Clean Air Act, where he seeks to advance energy-related concerns. Today, Congressman Boucher will be speaking to you on energy legislation now pending in the United States Congress and energy technology opportunities being created by the recently enacted Federal Economic Stimulus Act. Please join me in giving Congressman Rick Boucher a warm welcome at his second kickoff appearance at the Energy Technology Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Boucher.
Well, Sheena, thank you very much for that excellent introduction. Did you notice she wasn't reading any of that?
But I had it in case.
I didn't know all those things. Well, thank you so much for having me here this morning. I want to say a word this morning about my good friend and an excellent public servant here in Wise County, Jack Kennedy, the clerk of our circuit court. Jack has been a tremendous pioneer and continues to be in the technology area. He pioneered the use of electronic records for circuit courts. He did that here at the circuit court clerk's office in Wise County. And the clerk's offices statewide have followed Jack's lead. In fact, he became something of an informal consultant to clerks from around the state who would come to Wise County in order to see what had happened here and how that innovation might benefit them as well. State Supreme Court, that is responsible for the court system in our state, relied upon Jack substantially in order to spread the word about the benefits of digital records in the court system. And he's also the pioneer of these energy technology summits here in Wise County, sponsored by the Southwestern Virginia Technology Council, but really organized by Jack. He organized the one last year and was the lead organizer for this one, and I want to commend him for doing all of those things. You can look around the room and clearly see the success of this forum today, just as the one last year was very successful. So I just want this morning to give a nod to an excellent Southwest Virginia public servant, clerk of our circuit court here, Jack Kennedy. Last year, I had the privilege of speaking to this group, and I predicted to you at that time that the congressional debate on controls on greenhouse gas emissions was maturing, and that in this session of Congress, the one that started in January of 2009, that Congress would pass a control on greenhouse gas emissions. Today, that debate has matured further, and we are now proceeding rapidly